Hi everyone, today we are going to revisit one of the plants that I featured from last year, and it is Alocasia. The Alocasia that I'm going to revisit is this Alocasia Sarian. And when I featured this from last year, is still juvenile. Now I have this gigantic plant. Look at how robust is this plant now, and it's beautiful, and it has lots of pop that produce along the sides of the plant. I love this plant because it has these green leaves. It has these prominent linings on the leaves. It has this whitish to yellowish color on the veins of the leaves of this plant. Alocasia Sarian, it was named after an agriculture journalist from the Philippines, Zacharias or Zach B. Sarian. Sarian is a cross between Alocasia zebrina and Alocasia Micholitziana, or sometimes commonly called as the Alocasia Frydek. The preferred temperature of this one for them to grow best is 60 degrees to 89 degrees Fahrenheit, and they could be planted outdoors in zones 9 to 11. But if you live in the temperate zones of the world, normally you have to bring them indoors during the winter time for them to be protected from the elements of the cold weather. And what I do with these plants during summertime is bring them outside in a partial shade area. Morning sunlight of at least 3 to 4 hours is okay, but afternoon sunlight is not good for this plant because the leaves will be burned. What I do to maintain this plant is that make sure you don't overwater or neglect to water them. The indication of overwater is that the leaves will collapse, or the leaves will turn into yellow, and if it's underwater, then there will be browning of the leaves, and also yellowing, and sometimes death of the plant. Make sure you don't neglect taking care of this plant. What you have to do is to give them food, fertilize the plant, giving them a soluble fertilizer, or sometimes you could use an organic fertilizer. There's available everywhere. That way it will maintain a healthy plant, and it will provide you more pups or new plants. All right. Another way is to make sure you get a damp cloth or tissue, and then once in a while you have to wipe the leaves. One way of checking, making sure there's no pests and diseases that will attack the plant. I recommend this as a good plant for any interiors designs and also container gardening. And what you have to do is just select any nice pots that you prefer. That way will have a wow factor. All right. As I've said, these plants, as long as you know their cultural requirements, it will provide you a very healthy plant. You could divide the plant. That's how you propagate the plant, is by division. And there's so many pops on this plant that I have. Just remove the pops, divide it, and then plant it in a new pot. This plant is so beautiful, and look at the leaves of this plant. They're very attractive. If you could see the sides of this plant, has so many pops along the side of the plant. As I've said, watering the plant is very crucial for this plant. When it's time to water the plant, what you have to do is to poke at least 2 inches along the sides of the soil. And if it's too dry, it's about time to water the plant. But if wet, don't water yet. Now you could also select a different kind of pots, like the one I have over here, green pot, and it is a good contrast for this Alocasia Sarian. It's a perfect color combination. Isn't it pretty? Alocasia Sarian can be propagated by division. I'm going to divide some pups along the side of the mother plant. Do that right now. So I'm going to cut a portion. Now here are the three pups that I took out from the mother plant, and I planted them in small pots, and I use a soil combination of coco peat, perlite, and organic soil, or you could use a loam soil mixed with the coco peat and perlite, or you could also use succulent mix. All right.